what's priced in where what for USMCA?
So for the Canadian dollar, I think USMCA is a non-starter. It's the risks were if it was ripped apart and broken, there was nothing kind of priced in the CAD that where it could decline pretty significantly if we didn't see this trade deal move in the right direction. Mexico is probably the better play, largely because Latin America has just been beat up the last month, and you kind of see there's currencies like Chile, Brazil, Argentina, Mex. They're all kind of doing different things, but USMCA is probably a little bit more beneficial for Mex than it is CAD, but it is really, to me, at this point, not a huge market event because what we're doing is basically going back to the status quo. This was kind of a man-made argument around whether or not we should be pulling NAFTA apart and redesigning it and discussing it. The uncertainty around whether or not we'd actually have a deal and have it implemented. Last year was kind of the shock value, whether or not this thing can actually get executed on. And now we're at the implementation phase, and there's just really nothing left in the markets to kind of trade on USMCA.
Can we extrapolate that to general trade, as in like even good and bad headlines? We haven't seen that much whippy action within the S&P, for example. I mean, can we use the same argument?
Well, I'd say you'd have to think of macro versus idiosyncratic risk. This is clearly a North American agreement that's idiosyncratic to the North American supply chain. So it could get business moving again. There are corporations and companies we've talked to that are kind of looking for the implementation. But this is like maybe if you're talking about global sentiment around trade tensions, you're now seeing, again, you've gone from the escalation period, we're in stabilization. Maybe we see some deceleration. That's important because what we've lived in for the last year is a negative feedback loop of trade uncertainty, global growth slowdown, financial market stress, and it keeps going. So if USMCA is now one step in the right direction, that something gets done, we've removed some uncertainty, so maybe the geopolitical uncertainty index starts to improve a little bit more from here. And I think that's what most people are doing, is they're taking little nuggets of the process and assuming that, as we get closer to the U.S. election, it's less likely we get more uncertainty around trade.